Welcome and salutations. We see you're sitting here with your warm hearts and your open minds ready to receive. We want to remind you and even warn you that it is important to give yourself time to receive, time to sit with wisdom every day, time to retreat from the world. For when you are logged in and plugged in and tapped in and eyes fixated on all day, every day, you start to lose that connection to the wisdom and the wonder of the world. Today, Rachel is wondering about happiness and work. Work is a wonderful thing. All over the world for the past year plus, you have had a mass wake up of what is the work that is worth it to me? What is my work worth? What work am I willing to do no matter the pain or the cost? What path am I willing to put my feet on where I will go the distance? Many people have been working for so long, they've had to take the quiet time, the retreating time, the reflecting time to pull back so that they can see the path that would be where they want to walk and what is the work that they want to do in the world. For so long in this nation where you live and in many places of the world, work has been devoid of love. Work has been a pure transaction that has only the survival energies in it of let me pay for my needs, let me do the minimum that I need to eat and shelter and clothe and all of those basic things. And so in a way, work has had a depravity of the spirit, a depravity of the soul that was brought to it. And for so many people, this was the attitude that this is the way of the world and that the rules of the world are that your soul is not welcome at work. In this newer time, you would like to bring your soul to work. You would like to bring your joy to work. You would like to bring your essence to work. Can you imagine what it would be like to work where your true, wondrous, creative soul essence is encouraged, where people are inspired by your existence, where you are expected to show up as you, and the expectations are of warm support and connection and a cheering on of your self-expression. There are some avenues in the world where we have seen this happen. Sports and music and some of the arts and entertainment and some of those arenas, we have that idea. If you can be the best in that, then you get to have a work that is joyous and that is your expression pouring out into the world. It is so delightful that you have had those people as your role models, as your idols, as your people that you look up to and wish that you could be like them. For much of history, there has been a constriction of thought around what was possible, and that these were the arenas in which that type of joyful, aligned, creative expression was possible, and it wasn't possible for the others. That paradigm is breaking and broken, and it will not be moving forward. It is becoming more clear every day to the masses that there are avenues where you can be your whole self. You can have the work and the livelihood that wants your whole self to be there. For some people to get there, you will have to take a leap from disbelief to belief. You will not be able to logically figure this out. The longer you try to stay there, if you try and stay in a state of logic and figuring out how will this be, how will this work for everyone, is it fair for me to do this, all of that mental mind drama, you will not get to the place where you can receive and birth the new paradigm of work that is available to all of us. As you make the transition, if you want to make the transition, you would be best to do 1 to 3 things. First, you need to identify and honor who you are. You need to identify and honor what it is that truly does bring you joy. If that thing is pizza, if that thing is ice cream, if that thing is sports, if that thing is listening to podcasts and going for walks, whatever the thing is, whether it's simple or not, whether you can somehow identify this does lead to income in our current economy, it doesn't matter. Do not look for the things that currently lead to income. And this is what many great business people who try to teach the way out do teach you. Many entrepreneurial coaches who show and teachers who show the means to remove yourself from the thinking try to show you, first identify the places where you have joy, where you have creative expression, and just acknowledge that. Spend a significant portion of time every day. And significant, if you're spending no time a day, then 10 to 15 minutes is significant. It doesn't have to be 2 to 3 hours, but 10 to 15 minutes a day of noticing and doing those things that feel like home, as you might say, that feel like this is me, this is where I am welcome, this is where I am embraced, this is where my creative expression really does come out. That is one action, and it's an act, but it's also a way of being. The second act and way of being is the ways in which you receive information that negates who you are, the people who you are around, the media outlets, the whatever it is that negates and tells you you can't do that. It's time to put a pause on those. One thing that you may want to do is imagine that you are coating yourself in, it could be a screen, a piece of clothing, a veil, or whatever. You come up with the visual. Create a screen. This screen is from now on going to filter out those beliefs and words and values that tell you that you are not allowed to be your whole creative self, your whole full expression, your whole who you are. This will start making so that as you are rooting in the new belief and expanding yourself to embrace the new consciousness, you are also not letting it be eroded or attacked or undermined by a counter belief. You are setting up an energetic filter, a belief filter, so that those things may not from now on be allowed into your energy, into your field, into your space. If you wish, you can also extend that filter to pass it through you so that it removes those that are still within you, those thoughts that are taken from others that are not yours, that you do not need to hold on to anymore. The third thing, which for many people is the longest step and for some the hardest step, is that from now forward, you are consistently putting time, your heart, and your energy into the things that bring you joy, into the areas where you have your delightful human expression. The part that becomes the tension here is that for some people, there's the tension between, you know that you have an aim to make money and you know you want to be a full creative expression, but is this expression I'm working on today the one that makes me the money? Unfortunately, you can't get into the nitty-gritty, day by day, hyper awareness of each little thing. And if you think of it this way, the greatest composers and artists, their legacies were rarely built by one piece. One piece is not what will make or break you. In order to have your sole livelihood be what your creative expression is coming from, you are becoming, as you go through this process, the creative person who expresses him or herself every day or on a frequent basis in the way that is your wholehearted creative expression of yourself. You are initially simply becoming a being who has the habit of, here is my joyful expression. Here is my joyful expression. Here is my joyful expression. This period may last for weeks. It may last for months. It may even last for years. That is said because as long as you are enjoying and loving the process and the creative, joyful expression that you are practicing, that you are exuding when you make the drawing or you make the bread or you design a new outfit or you putter around in your garden or you get at the piano and you're noodling around with a different tune, or there are many other things, art forms which probably even aren't a big thing yet, which will be the things that people are playing around with and creating. Things with glass and light and colors. There's so many options and evolving possibilities of the art forms. The thing is that as long as you are having fun as you're creating these and you are pouring yourself into these things, you are pouring more energy, more expression into your things and into your future path. Over the coming months and years, there will be more and more openings for those who have practiced this joyful, exuberant, honest, authentic creative expression. And the words creative expression is not only of the arts, but it is that what is it within you that feels generous and joyful and flowing out of you, that you love to just emit from your being as you go about whatever creative act it is. Those things that you let flow infuse your life with this radiant energy from your being, and it infuses the future too. Every day that you do this, you are helping to solidify and to change the world of work as much as possible, to not worry about how there will be compensation for it, but know that every means that you have of expressing, you're paving that path forward with everyone else. 5 years from now, or more likely a decade from now, the options for soul expression and art in work will be totally more open and available to many, many more humans than they are now. The possibilities in the ways in which the workforce is changing now are expanding and multiplying. You are in the early phases of you're planting a forest, you're planting these saplings. And these saplings, you have to plant a lot of saplings and they take some care and it takes time. But as you fast forward and as time goes on and you have planted the saplings, you look back at that time and then there is a forest growing. That forest will continue to grow and all types of new things will happen. In the forest are not only the trees, those are the first things that we think of, but as these young saplings that you plant grow, then there are bushes and insects and birds and small creatures and mushrooms. A new ecosystem is created. This is why your creative work is so important, because you are helping to create the new ecosystem of work that honors your soul, that honors this soul expression. The other beautiful element to honor and revere, the hope is that there will be a recalling in you and a remembering, is that this creative work, even though you are doing it for yourself in the most immediate sense of it, you and the others are creating these ripples, this new ecosystem of work that is building the change for the world. You're a part of something that is both individual and collective in this beautiful way. You are gifting this to yourself and you are gifting this to others. You are infusing your soul into the legacies that will be the things that others get to benefit from for many generations to come. This is truly an honor to be a part of this process. There's a beauty in this process. It's in a way ironic that you think you're just one person sitting in your space at your table or your office or your wood burning shop or your picnic table, creating the things and feeling the energy and enthusiasm pour out of you. But you are one along with a million ones who are all seeding the forest together. And so remember, if you have moments where you're feeling a little bit alone, that you are not alone in this. And as you connect to the flow of the creative soul energy coming through you, you probably know this, but it's easy when you finish your creativity and you're going about your day and you're thinking, well, I didn't get the likes or the comments or the sales or the whatever for the things, and maybe there's no point in me making any more hand-tooled leather purses or kombucha blends with special herbs and intentions. Maybe there's no purpose in me doing this anymore. Be gentle with yourself as you have these up and down spikes of insecurity, of self-doubt, of I don't know why I'm doing this, or I don't know what the purpose of this is, and I don't know why I keep on doing this thing that doesn't seem to be honored or needed in the marketplace. Those emotions, they're not that helpful. It's okay to feel them. Many people are feeling them. You're reminded that you're not alone. You are one of the points of light. You are one of the people making the forest. And your contributions are essential. And the ways in which you create the light in your life and the ways in which you follow that creative path and the ways in which you honor your soul expression are moving you forward. You can remember that these spikes of insecurity and self-doubt and questioning and looking out at the world and trying to find how the world makes sense of who you are, those are simply elements that the outside world may not be able to affirm who you are. You may be a person before your time, and the time will come. So encourage yourself to remember this, that you may be a visionary, or you may need a year of a creative path of making craft kombuchas until that leads to something else, and then that is your thing. It's essential that you do not let the whims of a dying marketplace, of an economy that was never set out to honor most people's creative expression, do not let that paradigm, which is becoming brittle and at its end, to impact your emotional state. Also, there are the beliefs and the paradigms of not just from the economy, but about work that you're working your way through. And I know there are people who are thinking, but what if this is just foolish work? What if this is foolhardy to think I can work on this? And what if I spend 5 to 7 years working on something that never pays for itself? And this is where you will be asked to return back to the creative expression that is from your soul. If you reach a point where you are ready to throw your hands up in the air, you are so angry because the marketplace is not affirming your creative expression, your soul expression, and you're angry at the world for not supporting you financially and for not giving you money for the things you've created, then you're invited to do the quiet work of perhaps it's time to let that creative expression go and to find the one, to have some time to pull back and explore and find the one that you would do regardless of how these people pay you, speak about you, share about you, any of the ways in which they comment to you. If your creative expression is only for their benefit, it will at some point run out. So please come back to rekindling, nurturing, and reaffirming your soul's expression, your creative expression, because there is unending creativity if you are caring for your creative spiritual soul self and if you are letting that expression come out. And at a certain point, if there's this tension and the tension continues and resentment and bitterness and those things are building up and you are considering giving up that thing, then it's possible that maybe you do need to give it up. Maybe you need to let yourself grieve. And maybe you need to let yourself feel like that perturbed and frustrated tantruming child who says, but I spent so long working on this thing that no one wanted to buy and that no one cared about. You can feel that. You can have that experience. If you need to let your child within have the tantrum, please let that happen. Let yourself feel the way. Let yourself be kind and compassionate. If you want to have a grieving ceremony or a letting go ritual or whatever the things are, and then go back to the practices that we shared about earlier, which is to go about your day, simplify what you're letting of the outside world and their beliefs commentating, and go back to what are the things that bring you joy. And you may need to go out and explore some new things. You may need to join a group where they're doing a new type of hanging mobiles or dancing feathers in the wind dream catchers. Or maybe you paint horse hooves with intricate designs and you decorate horses for celebratory parades. And this is something that no one has ever done before, but no one ever did it because you never did it. If you are in a place of resentment and anger and frustration, return to the well within. Find those who can nurture and care for you. Let yourself get out there to start playing with the new forms of creativity. Let yourself find the new ways that you want to express and the path that you want to walk that is for you, that both fills you and you feel the creative energy, joy, and spirit of the world moving through you as you engage in the process. Go back to that and give yourself lots of time to, if you need to wrap up in a blanket and be sad, give yourself the time to be sad. Don't wallow for hours on end, but give yourself the time to be sad. If you need to find a new job of the world that supports you, that allows you to have new creative expression, do that. There is no judgment about job, meaning that your creative work is not valid enough. Every step of the way, I encourage you and I support you. I have the highest and best wishes for your creative expression and the unfoldment of your best self.